Previously, you learned that you could get a list of Python built-in modules using sys.builtin module names. As an example, we used the time module, which would freeze the script execution for a particular amount of seconds. Now let me show you something. I'll execute the script, onion will be printed out, because it's there in the vegetables.txt file. However, if I now delete this file, you'll see that the next time the script checks for the file's vegetables.txt path, so that's a file path, it's going to generate an error, file not found error, no such file or directory. So imagine you had this program running on a server 24/7, and for some reason the software that was generating these files, at some point it doesn't generate the file, so your script execution will end. And maybe in a minute your software will start to generate the files again, but your Python script will not resume because it got an error here. So what we want to do, we want to keep executing the Python script even when the file is not in the directory there. To do that, we want to make use of the OS module. Import OS, and you're going to notice that OS is not among the built-in Python modules. Indeed, OS is a module written in Python. All these modules are built-in, which means they are written in C language inside the Python software implementation. OS is not one of them. To find out where OS is staying, you can use sys.prefix. You're going to get a directory path there, which could be different depending on what operating system you are using. So please navigate to that directory. I prefer to go there directly by copying it without the quotes. So copy everything without the quotes, like that. Go to your command line terminal, and if you are on Windows, use start and paste the directory there. And then press enter. If you are on Mac or Linux, use open instead of start and paste the directory again. Press enter. That will open your Windows Explorer or Finder, whatever you have to open folders. So that the 3.7 folder that you see in here, and then go to lib. Double click. Then find the folder Python 3.7 or whatever version you have. So Python 3. something. Double click it, and here you'll see a number of Python files. .py. These are all Python files. These are all standard Python modules, and OS is among them. Go to O here. Double click it or open it with whatever you use as a text editor, and you'll see that this is actually Python code. Make sure to close it before changing it. So don't change, don't modify Python standard modules. So I'm going to close it, and you can use dir actually to see what you have available for that module. So among them, for example, I'm going to use the path object. So with os.path, and path has a method called exist. The exist method gets an argument, which should be a string, and it's supposed to be the path of the file you want to check if it exists in the current directory. So let's write the directory path to the file, and I get false because the file was not in the current directory. If I go there and create that file inside the files folder, so now I have a files/vegetables.txt file path. If I execute that again, I'm going to get true. And we can make use of that fact in our Python program. So what we want to do is, before opening the file in read mode, we want to check if the file exists, because if we don't do that and the file is not there, this line here is going to generate that file not found error. So before doing that, we want to check if os.path.exists files / vegetables.txt. And since this is a conditional, we want to use a colon there. And after that, whatever you want to do, it has to be indented. So with it's going to be under if. This is also part of the with block, so indent that as well. And then else goes inside the while loop again. What you want to do under else? Well, maybe we want to print out file does not exist. And then be careful here, time sleep has to be outside of the if-else block, because you want to execute it independently of the conditional block, which means if the file exists, this is going to be executed. If the file does not exist, this is going to be executed. And after either of these is executed, always we're going to execute time.sleep. So let me save the script and execute it. And we got an error, OS is not defined. I'm glad this showed up because modules have to be imported. Otherwise you're going to get that name error because OS, before you being used in here, it was not imported. And it's not a built-in function or method such as print, which you don't need to import. So its name is not available immediately in the namespace. Save the script again, execute, and we get an empty string because vegetables is currently empty. Now if I go and delete vegetables like that, wait a while, and we get this printed out. If you create the file again, write something there, save the file, don't forget, pretending that the software is generating this file. So you get garlic there. Now I can interrupt the script execution with Ctrl+C, and that are both standard Python modules. And they are exactly the same, so you can use dir with them. So all the Python rules apply to these modules. The only difference is that time is written in C language and it's built in inside the Python software, and OS comes as a .py script, and it came here when you installed Python. So it was basically copied in one of your computer directories, and you can import all those modules, standard modules, in Python. Now, of course, not everything comes with your Python installation. Some things you have to install. So I'll show you that in the next video.